to be grown up. To that extent, one grows out of this feeling that I am not up to it. One considers oneself to be grown up when one finds or feels that I am okay. I could achieve my self-picture, self-portrait. That is growth. So one wants to grow to the extent of one's own self-picture of successful living. Now, it is an experience, and I don't want to get into details, that one cannot be successful by achieving certain external goals. Nasti akrutaha krutena. Krutena karmana means karma phalena, akrutaha means fullness, is na prapnoti, is not possible. Certain attitudes, certain values, certain goals cannot make me achieve the sense that I am okay. Now, to achieve that complete self-growth, to feel that I am okay, one has to grow internally. People generally work for external growth in terms of money, position, relationship, power, etc., etc. But one, to get that sense, for a permanent sense, no doubt these achievements give a temporarily, for some time, that sense, I have made it. But to gain that permanent sense, I need to grow internally. Now, this internal growth is twofold. One, through dharma, and another through moksha. Means pursuit of dharma gives internal growth, which leads to the pursuit of moksha, and pursuit of moksha ultimately helps me to achieve that growth that I am seeking, to achieve a feeling that I am okay. Now, what is dharma? In nutshell, dharma is a commitment to duty, commitments to what is to be done, commitments to ethical lifestyle. When one commits to that lifestyle, the growth is a discovery. Growth is the sense that it is not the security that I am seeking, but I am seeking primarily freedom from insecurity. So also, dharma, life of dharma gives me a clarity that all the time I have been wanting so-called happiness, so-called fullness, and therefore thought that by having this or that, I'll become full and complete, I'll become happy, but nothing. In fact, I am seeking freedom from being unhappy to begin with. I can't stand myself, that incomplete person, that unhappy person. Now, that is, I want to be free from sense of dissatisfaction. I want to be free from dukkham, which I am constantly feeling. Sense of lack or sense of dissatisfaction is nothing but dukkham. They are the two sides of the coin. This clarity leads to one to the pursuit of moksha. In other words, when one has this clarity, one seeks something other than dharma, artha, and kama. And there one needs a grace. Because this person knows, or at least feels, there is a vague feeling that any known means and end will not give me this freedom, will not give me fullness, will not give me sense of at-homeness. And therefore, he or she is gullible for anything and everything that is talked about in the spiritual supermarket. So, then the grace leads him to a teacher who can teach Shastras, and then the life becomes purposeful. The human existence becomes purposeful, human life becomes meaningful only when it is directed towards the pursuit of moksha. And this moksha is achieved through Vedanta. And what is Vedanta? There is a definition. Vedanto nama Upanishad Pramanam. Vedanta is Upanishad, and it is called Upanishad. Or Upanishad is called Vedanta, and it is a Pramanam. Pramanam means of knowledge. A means of knowledge is a means of knowledge. That means that particular means of knowledge cannot be proved that it is a means of knowledge, or cannot be disproved that it is not a means of knowledge unless one operates it. What I see, you cannot prove through ears, much less you can disprove through ears or nose or whatever it is. So, this pramana, that to commit to Vedanta as a pramanam, that requires for certain attitude which we can call Shraddha. That attitudinal commitment, until pramana works, until you see the truth that is revealed by Shastra, that means you have to submit yourself to pramana. Submitting yourself means, are you okay? I lost you. Can you see me?
Yes,
Hello?
Swami. Yes.
Ji Swamiji.
Okay. So, one has to submit to Shastra. And that submission requires certain attitude, which is popularly called as Shraddha. And we shall talk about that Shraddha in detail little later when we come to it. But at the moment, I just want to bring out these two things. You need a grace to have a teacher, and to have a proper teacher, moksha teacher, and you need a grace to have proper attitude of Shraddha, whereby you can submit to the Shastra. Now, then in this unbroken tradition, timeless tradition of our Vedanta Shastra, though Pramana is Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutra, Prasthana Trayi they call it, many acharyas have written so many books. Contemporary acharyas have written Vedanta for the contemporary audience. And some of the granthas became quite popular, and they are so thorough that it gives a very good insight into certain basics of the Vedanta, and they are taught at the beginning to have some clarity about the fundamental concepts of Shastra. One of them is TattvaBodha. This text is, though meant for beginners, but it is generally not taught in north of India. They have different structure. This is only Swami Dayananda Parampara. You just stumble, and then Swamiji also stumbled upon this text while he was in Rishikesh. He often used to tell the story that when he was there and some Swami came from Fiji, and he said to Puja Swamiji, teach me Gita in 10 lectures. He said, what is this in 10 lectures? And that time Swamiji had all the leisure. He was staying in Rishikesh, not committed to course, not committed to Gnani Yajnas, not committed to any organized thing, etc. So he said, give me Gita in 10 lectures. Swami said, what 10 lectures? It is, you have to keep studying, and whenever it gets over, it gets over. I can't teach you in 10 lectures. He says, no, I want in 10 lectures because I don't have time. Swamiji was, again, he said, I didn't know what to say. He's a sadhu coming all the way from Fiji to learn Shastra. He asked him, why have you come here? He said, I have come here to learn. Then he said, I have no time. Then he asked him politely, क्या कुछ है, जाना है, medical operation है? Then the Swami said, no, I have to go to America and I want to talk to American people Gita, so I want to learn in 10 days. And I have only 10 days. So he was dumb. And he said, okay, let him come tomorrow. I said, come tomorrow, we'll start. And he was wondering what to do and what to teach him in 10 days. Swamiji used to say that Swami had received sannyasa through post, living in Fiji. Then Swamiji asked him, who is your guru? He said, I so-and-so is guru. He said, when did you get sannyasa? He said, on such and such a date at Fiji. Yeah, how? Guru came there? He says, no, he sent me by post sannyasa. And then he was wondering what to do. And during that time, one of the Swamijis had passed away, and all his library was given over to Puja Swami. And there he tumbled upon this TattvaBodha. And then he thought, okay, within 10 days, I can give a good view of Vedanta, and at least give some basics before he talks about Gita. He can relate and understand the words properly. And that's how he taught him. And then he fell in love with it. And then he started teaching to all other people uh, this TattvaBodha in every course. Now coming back to this text, I hope you have the text in front of you. Every text, our traditional text begins with Mangala Charanam. So there is a shloka. Let us chant it to begin with lot of vignas, but we do Mangala Charanam not that, so that these vignas may not come in future. Let us chant this. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Gnana Pradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya TattvaBodho Abhidhiyate. There are traditionally two things are involved in Mangalacharanam. I mean, they offer the salutations to Lord and teacher. And secondly, the Mangalacharanam or the first sentence reveals what the technically called as Anubandha Chatushtaya. Bandha means binding. Anubandha, that which binds you thereafter. Like Gachati, Anugachati, following. What following? Having known these four things, you get bound by the text. In other words, one commits to the text. And that when you know these four things, then only you commit to a given text. Okay. Huh. Anubandha Chatushtayam means having known these four things, you get committed to the text. What is four? First is Adhikari, second is Vishaya, third is Prayojanam, and fourth is Sambandha. Between the study of the text and the goal that I want to achieve. So Adhikari means who is qualified? For whom are you writing this text? That is Adhikari. Whom it is addressed. In fact, that is the first thing we look for. I don't know what's the custom in US, but back in India when we were in schools, before the school starts, we used to go to buy the textbook, then maths book and science book, and that typical statement we used to say, give me 5th standard mathematics book, give me 7th standard geography book, etc. What does it mean? The person I have passed out 4th standard, I want to know the maths of the 5th grade, therefore I seek for 5th standard book. Therefore in Gujarati they write, Dashmana sure suggestion, Barmana Vidyarthiyo Mate, like that. That's the first one. Right? Before even they write on the text, this is history or geography or mathematics or science, Ityas, Bhugol, etc. The first thing they write is, this is for this graded student. That means, who is qualified for the 6th standard book? The one who has passed out the 5th. Who is qualified for the 7th standard book? One who has passed out the 6th grade. So, Adhikari. Here, Adhikari is Mumukshu. Second line he says, Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Gnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya TattvaBodho Vidhiyate. So, that the Mumukshu Adi is Adhikari. Mumukshu means moksha, ichuhu, one who wants moksha, one who is desirous of freedom, one who is desirous of sense of at-homeness, one who is desirous of sense of fullness, completeness. That mumukshunam, for these mumukshus, and hitarthaya. That's a sambandha. The mumukshu's hitam lies in gaining moksha. So the prayojanam of this text is to lead mumukshu to moksha, in order to help mumukshus to discover the freedom or the moksha that is their nature, called as mumukshunam hitarthaya. And then he says, what is a vishaya TattvaBodho vidhiyate? I am writing the book called TattvaBodha. Tattva means essence. Tattva means the swarupa. Tattva means that because of which the thing is what it is. Or tattva means truth. So I am going to expound, I am going to teach the TattvaBodha, Tattvasya Bodha. I am going to reveal the knowledge of the truth. Now the question comes, just little clarity about it and about understanding about what Hindu Dharma is. The truth can be relative word. Like for a physicist, he or she is a seeker of truth, but they seek the truth of particles. For a chemist, he or she seeks the truth of chemicals. For a metallurgist, he or she seeks the truth of the metals. So here, the truth of what? The answer is truth of everything, or the truth, the ultimate truth. And the question comes, what is the ultimate truth, or what can be the ultimate truth? The answer is, what can be everything? The word everything can be looked upon as these three categories. These three categories, when you talk of these three things, that means everything is talked about. These three categories implies everything. What are the three categories or three groups? Then the three groups are, when I look at the world, I am an experiencer, the person who experiences the world. That means technically in Shastric language we call it a jiva. So, truth of jiva, which includes all sentient beings, all sentient livings here or hereafter, in this loka or any other loka. That is the first truth. I, we call it. Or in Sanskrit, we call it as a Prasama Purushaha. Then comes the truth of this experienced world that I see, the world that I know. That means truth of Jagat. It includes inert objects as well as it includes sentient beings also. All that I see, all that I hear, all that I smell, that is Jagat. So truth of Jagat and the truth of Jiva. And one thing is there, that the Jagat creator of this world is Ishvara. So when I say the truth of Jeev, Jagat and Ishvara is being talked about in this Tattva. Jeev, Jagat, Ishvara, Satya. Pratipadanam is truth. Tattvasya Bodha. And the truth is, they are all one. They are non-separate from each other. So when they say TattvaBodha, it means the Upadesha of wholeness, Upadesha of fullness, Upadesha of oneness. In other words, Upadesha of non-duality that is being revealed. So, Adhikari, Prayojana and Vishaya is talked about. And what is a Sambandha? And then two things I said, they do prayer to the Guru and Ishvara, That is Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Gnanapradam Gurum. So, Vasudevendra is the name of his teacher, and my salutations to Vasudevendra, who was a great Yogindra. And who was that Guru? Gnanapradam Gurum, that Guru who gave me this wisdom. My salutations unto that Guru, having offered my pranama to that Guru. Mukshunam hitarthaya, for mumukshus, I will now teach TattvaBodha abhidiyate. And what is the sambandha? There's a typical sambandha, napya gnapaka sambandha, and that itself is prapya prapaka sambandha. In other words, knowledge itself is moksha. And that means for gaining generally when you want to achieve something, having gained the knowledge, one has to work for it. After gaining the thing, you have to do karma. Here, knowledge itself is moksha. So, when he says, mumukshunam hitarthaya TattvaBodho vidhiyate, so anubandha chatushtaya is fulfilled. That sadhya is moksha, and moksha is achieved by gaining the knowledge of this TattvaBodha. This is very important thing. Just bear with me for a minute. There is a good news that my flight is delayed. It was at 9:05 and it's an international flight. So finally I have some time to complete the class. And I'll just take up a seat. While walking, I was taking a class. Just give me a minute. Go back to my corner, okay? So that's a good news. They first announced that they are boarding. And then when I went there, they said they are delayed. So let me go just a minute. That's why you were losing the connection in between, because I was just walking. And I'm sorry, in hurry, I lost my iPods in the car. So you may have to bear with the noise also. I got so late and the traffic was so late. Anyway, the meeting got concluded by 7. Okay, now coming back to this. Mumukshunam hitarthaya TattvaBodho vidhiyate. This is important, and that is to be understood properly, because there is, as Swami used to say, there is always karma orientation. There is always to do something, to achieve something. And this sense is further strengthened when people listen to Vedanta, and because of certain background, because of the exposure to the world, they have a fairly subtle intellect and fairly sharp intellect, whereby they can grasp those concepts. So then this question comes that, Swamiji, now I understand I am Ananda, but how to experience this Ananda? How to gain this Ananda? So there is always a feeling to do something to gain moksha. No, that we'll deal with little later in some other context. But to gain moksha is to own up the knowledge. This problem comes because of there is a gap between cognitive person and emotive person. All those emotions which are there hidden and piled up within have been pending inside, and the fellow has not addressed to those emotions. Therefore, does not address to those reactions. And that causes sort of a split between the person who knows and the person who can own it up. Person feels that I have to do something to gain this knowledge. Now, mumukshunam hitarthaya means the hitam of the mumukshu lies only in gaining the knowledge or assimilating the knowledge or owning of the knowledge. And that is possible when one enjoys a relatively quiet mind, relatively pure mind. Vasudevendra Yogindram. Now, this first line is also salutations to Ishvara, is also salutations to Bhagavan, because Vasudevascha Indrascha is Vasudevendra. It can be a proper noun of the teacher, of the writer of the book, which is supposedly written by some Shankaracharya. And Shankaracharya being a title, you don't know which Shankaracharya wrote it and when wrote it. There is no mention and available records. Then he says, and so it may be his guru's name, but Vasudevendra also can mean Vasudevascha Indrascha. So one who is in Vasudeva means Bhagavan Krishna, and the Lord Indra is a lord of the heaven, and Indra word is used in Vedas to denote Ishvara also. So that Krishna, who is Ishvara, Vasudevendra, Indra Pururupa Iyate, there are mantras, and Indra created. So Bhagavan is also called Indra. So Vasudevendra Yogindram, Gnana Pradam, and he is a Yogindra. He is the greatest yogi. Yogindra means the greatest yogi in terms that he agatita gatana, like our Dakshinamurti, is also great. He is called a Yogindra because he creates something which is not there. So doing pranamam to that Vasudevendra. So Narayana himself is called Yogindra. Bhagavan uses this yoga word in the ninth chapter. Bhuta brunnacha bhutastaha pashyame yoga maishwaram. He says, you see my great yoga that I have created. I hold Bhuta Brun, though I hold them. I dharan karta aham asmi. But at the same time, I am not in them. They are not in me. There are vakyas like this in that mantra yogi, and we call Krishna as a Yogeshwara. So Yogindra means Yogeshwar Krishna. And my salutations unto Vasudevendra Yogindra. So, having done salutations to that Vasudevendra Yogindra, Gnana Pradam Gurum, and he is also called as Guru because he is Adi Guru. This Vidya came from Narayana, or you can say this Vidya, he revealed this Vedas, he revealed these Shastras. So, therefore, he is Gnana Pradam, Adi Guru. And therefore he says, Nattva Gnana Pradam Gurum Mokshunam Hitarthaya TattvaBodho Avidhiyate. I am going to teach a textbook called TattvaBodha so that mumukshus can gain moksha. Okay, now I think you have to pardon me, I have to go. It's an international flight and the queue is over, so I may be the last 5 passengers to board. Please excuse me. Next Sunday I will not keep any commitment. Okay?